Zidane Danny, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Nerd Chat here on Electro Ninja's Lab. I am here with my fellow host,
I'm Jack.
I'm Joseph.
and today we thought we would have our full discussion on Dragon Ball as well as just Akira Toriyama as a whole. Um, for those of you who didn't watch the last Nerd Chat or just aren't aware somehow, Akira Toriyama is what was the mangaka of Dragon Ball Z, of the Dragon Ball series, all of them. Um, he was the I think he did more than just the character designing, but he's
He
credited as
was
the
the entire writer and artist for the original series.
well. I'm talking about Chrono Trigger next. I was just gonna bring that up as well. So
Oh,
I don't know. I think some things say that he did a lot more for Chrono Trigger. He did a lot of character designs for a lot of different video games and such, especially early on with like Chrono Trigger and like PS1 era stuff. Um, as well as he did stuff for Dragon Quest and so on and so forth. We're not going to go over every single thing, but I think it's important that we have a discussion about this since sadly he did pass away about 2 weeks ago. Um, we found out about this about a week ago, and we did have me and Joker at least brought it up last Nerd Chat, but we didn't like go in depth with it because neither of us are Dragon Ball fans. So Jack is gonna be taking the lead with this.
Yes, especially since Dragon Ball is so long.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start there.
Well, I think the
obviously, you would start at the beginning.
yeah, start with Dragon Ball, but
But yeah, so I love Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball, um, it's really funny. So as soon as I told my friend Cody that I wanted to get into manga because Zephram had said I should, um, he thrust five little red books at me and said, "This is the first manga you should read." And I was like, "Whatever. You have a lot of opinions, dude." And he does, but it ended up being really good. Dragon Ball is really, really cool. And for whatever reason, it just really sucked me in. And I love that it's just silly. Like, it is just. It's funny. Like, so you have Goku in the first original series, right? It's um, just Dragon Ball. So not Dragon Ball Z yet, not Dragon Ball Super, none of that. You start out and you literally just have Goku, and he is 14. He's very tiny, and he has a tail, and he doesn't really know literally anything. Like, he is still basically like a toddler at 14. He does not. He's never seen a woman. He's never done anything, and he just is kind of living his life with his grandpa, who he thinks is inside of a Dragon Ball. And things like that.
yeah,
And he's just
he's
cool.
vibing.
He's just there, and it doesn't happen until a little bit later that he starts undertaking some training, and he receives the Naibo and the different pieces, um, the different tools that are given to him. But it's interesting because really the whole premise is that they're going around repeatedly trying to collect the Dragon Balls, because what basically happens is you collect the Dragon Balls, and when you have all 7 of them, then you can summon the dragon. When you summon the dragon, you get to make a wish, and there are very few rules, but there are rules about what you can wish for. For instance, the dragon cannot bring someone back from the dead who has died of natural causes. But if someone was, per se, say, like, murdered, then they could bring him back, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit weird. Anyway, so as soon as you make the wish from the dragon, then all the balls are scattered to the winds again, all corners of the earth. And if you want to make another wish and contact the dragon again, you have to find the Dragon Balls again. So that's all that's happening in this entire almost 100 or more manga series. Is they're just repeatedly finding the Dragon Balls over and over and over again, and meeting new villains who are trying to stop them and other things like that.
Yeah. The original Dragon Ball, before Z, before Super, before any of that, it was loosely based off of a rather old Chinese mythology called Journey to the West,
Mm-hmm.
and like Goku is named after Sun Wukong, um, because he's Son Goku, and yeah,
Right.
and there, like I said, it's loose, and I've watched a few videos like discussing exactly what happened, and yeah, like I said, it's not specific. I think the biggest thing that really makes people not want to watch it is because of just how long it is. Because,
Mm-hmm.
but from what I've heard, I would say that if you just watch Dragon Ball, just the straight regular Dragon Ball, it's absolutely worth it. I've watched clips and stuff of the show, and little bits and pieces. Obviously, people have talked about extensively about Dragon Ball, and
Yeah, it's good. I highly recommend it.
yeah, um, but the biggest thing about Dragon Ball and Akira Toriyama is without Dragon Ball, we would not have manga. I think that is a accurate statement to make.
It is. It was It was 1985. It's been running straight since 1985, with I think no, if not few, if not no hiatuses.
Yeah,
And
like I think
yeah,
that
I mean, and it's still hand drawn, which is part of the coolest thing about it. Is that Akira Toriyama never stopped, never went and did digital art.
yeah,
It's always been and always has been and now always will be hand drawn.
yeah, and and that's like the big reason why we have, like I said, we have Shonen Jump, we have manga in general. Um, after you could hear a lot of people mention that their inspiration was Akira Toriyama or other people
Mm-hmm.
beforehand. Um, but
Is Banjo considered one of them?
especially after his death, everyone was mentioned about how he inspired them, including the people who were making manga at the same time as him. Like early on, many of the, like I think One Piece Oda mentions him, or discussed him, and so many others, and even the other big three probably would not have existed without Dragon Ball. And
Oh yeah. A lot of people who are currently drawing and writing manga grew up watching and reading Dragon Ball.
exactly. And if it wasn't Dragon Ball, it was something else that was inspired by Dragon Ball. And
Yeah.
the blatant fact is that we probably wouldn't have any manga. At least, well, we might have some manga, but remember that Shonen Jump was failing before Dragon Ball came along, and
Dragon Ball came along and basically rescued Shonen Jump entirely.
yes, exactly. And then with so obviously that happened, but at the same time, uh, not only was Shonen Jump saved, a lot of the other creators for Kodansha, for Yen Press, for Tokyo Pop, for every single one of them, they were inspired. Many of their creators were inspired by Akira Toriyama. uh, so it's kind of insane, and
He basically went and accidentally created an entire culture.
yeah, like granted, Astro Boy is older, but at the same time, it like sure Astro Boy inspired that obviously inspired a shit ton of people as well, but Dragon Ball made it popular. Dragon Ball made
Yeah, I'm gonna say for me, I've got both right in
Yeah.
front of me here. I'm gonna say for me, Astro Boy is a little bit in a different category. Not because it's bad, not because it's not a manga, because it is. But for me, Astro Boy fits in the category of something like 1984, books
Yeah.
that were writing about this far, vast, unknown future, and
yeah
so on and so forth. And it's just kind of weird.
yeah
Whereas Dragon Ball, it went from, alright, this is another futuristic thing that's happening right now. 'Cause think about it, when Astro Boy came out, right? Astro Boy was first produced in the 40s and 50s. And in the 40s and 50s, what was really popular at the time?
A lot of.
Well, but science fiction wise, you're gonna get things like what science fiction and like novel wise, little boys and little kids were reading, you know, Jules Verne,
Yeah.
and all these guys who were writing these bizarre, futuristic, what's gonna happen books, and kind of Tezuka kind of gave into that.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, here's another futuristic story about a boy who's not really a boy.
Yeah. Like,
whereas Toriyama came in and was like, all right, here's this random fucking kid who knows absolutely nothing. Literally, the back of the book describes it as this. What do you get when you bring together a hero of awesome physical power but questionable intelligence, a heroine of genius-level intelligence but questionable morals, a wise old man, great in power and intelligence, with no morals whatsoever, a shape-shifting pig, a wish-granting dragon, and the fiercest warrior ever to be paralyzed at the mere sight of a girl? Like, that's Dragon Ball right there, but it's really funny. You've got this idiot kid who has a tail for whatever reason, and can just shatter trees just by kicking them.
Yep.
He meets this girl who is convinced that sex is the way to get whatever she wants, and also relies heavily on technology, whereas Goku doesn't understand technology literally at all. And it's just, yeah, it's just funny. It's creative. It wasn't done before. It wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
It was new, and I think that's kind of also what did it.
Yeah.
Also having a hero who is deemed, even as the series progresses, is still deemed to be pure of heart because he can ride the cloud. I think that's also pretty cool. That actually makes people want to read it more because he's always a good guy. He cannot be a bad guy and still use and access the tools that he uses.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's honestly insane, and like I've watched videos discussing like the Super Saiyan and stuff like that as that when that came around, and it's honestly really interesting. Like, obviously Super Saiyan is super ingrained in our in the world consciousness at this point, but like
True.
You look at it and it was supposed to be a superpowered dark side situation originally, and like I'm not gonna go into too much detail because I don't know that much detail. OSP did a whole video about it, so I'll just say go watch their stuff because they have talked about Dragon Ball extensively, and most of my knowledge comes from them.
Fair.
So yeah, so obviously, go watch Dragon Ball if you're, either watch Dragon Ball from the beginning and enjoy it, or read the manga. Either or, both are completely reasonable ways to go about it. Or watch OSP and then you'll understand. They, like I said, they've done a lot with it. But yeah, I mean. And then again with like his stuff with video games, because so he was heavily involved with Chrono Trigger and Dragon Quest, and while granted those two are not necessarily like as big in the world consciousness as Dragon Ball is, both of them were hugely inspirational to many video game directors and creators and people who wanted to make video games, and as such we probably wouldn't have like Kingdom Hearts or most of the Final Fantasy games or pretty much anything by Square. Square Enix probably wouldn't exist. It's quite likely also that Pokemon probably wouldn't exist without him. That's bizarre to think about.
I hesitate with that one because I think Satoshi Tajiri is in his own category of legend in this realm.
He absolutely is.
Just because, like, a lot of Pokemon came from him wanting a game for people like him.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, like, it. I'm not saying that it would cease to exist, but I don't think that Ash would exist for one thing without Akira Toriyama. And
That's probably true.
like, well, of course, huh?
When did Dragon Ball come out?
1985.
Yeah, Pokemon's not that old.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
it didn't come out until like
it was in the 90s. Yeah, Pokemon was in the 90s. Dragon Ball started before that. So, yeah. And same thing goes for like probably Sonic wouldn't be as popular without Dragon Ball because obviously they copied the Super Saiyan. So yeah, Sonic and Dragon. So yeah, Sonic and Dragon Ball, basically perfectly connected. So we wouldn't have Sonic. We wouldn't have a lot of things without Dragon Ball. Like I said, I don't think we would have had Kingdom Hearts. I don't think we would have had. I think we would have had some of the Final Fantasies because I think like the early ones especially they came out before that. But like I would say that probably at least 7 onward probably wouldn't have existed without Dragon Ball, as well as Chrono Trigger especially, and Dragon Quest because spiky hair, the insanity of the spiky hair and the like honestly, if a show has spiky hair, if a series has spiky hair, it's unlikely that it like without Dragon Ball we probably wouldn't have it as much. Like obviously, I think that spiky hair would have existed, but it probably wouldn't have been as ubiquitous.
Dramatic.
Yeah, dramatic or as ubiquitous as it is currently because of without Dragon Ball. So like I said, I don't think Kingdom Hearts would exist. I don't think that Final Fantasy VII onward would exist. And honestly, I would love to hear what Tetsuya Nomura had to say about the whole thing because I feel like he was inspired by him. Especially since he was a character designer, and it looked many of his characters have that Dragon Ball aesthetic. Especially look at like all of the Final Fantasy VII characters and pretty much everything. Then look at like Final Fantasy 15, Kingdom Hearts.
I'd say that's true. They do kind of do the pants tucked into boots with the
Yeah.
way the costume's sold. Yeah.
Like it's insane to think about. Like just all of the different things that he's responsible for, and then like even if you look at my design, my spike. Like, granted, that's Kingdom Hearts, but at the same time, I don't think that Kingdom Hearts would exist without Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And like half of like I would say half, maybe more of what is behind us in the in our background probably wouldn't exist without him. I think like there's a likelihood of certain shows, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure that SAO was heavily inspired by like the creator of SAO was inspired by Dragon Ball. So pretty much any isekai that came out since then wouldn't exist. So we wouldn't have Ascendance of a Bookworm. We wouldn't have Reincarnated as a Sword. We wouldn't have a lot of them.
Reincarnated as a Sword or what's the other one? Rising of the Shield Hero. I still need to watch and read those.
Yeah, I don't think that either of those would exist without first SAO, because SAO kind of brought isekai to existence.
Brought a lot of stuff into.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you look at like if you look at manga and anime as a whole, any of the big series, you're just like, oh yeah, that this would not exist without this other thing that existed. Um,
Like My Hero.
well, I don't think like My Hero wouldn't exist. I don't think too much has been inspired since then by My Hero. Um, at least, well, there's been some things, but it's not. It hasn't been as it hasn't been around long enough to actually make a lasting impact yet. Um, I don't think that we would have we would not have Hunter's Guild Red Hood without it without My Hero, but and as such, My Hero wouldn't exist without Dragon Ball, um, and so on and so forth. There's honestly, you look over all of these different series and you're like, you know, I don't think that would exist without Dragon Ball. I don't think that would exist without Dragon Ball because of all of the different connecting lines, because you know who's inspired each of the different things, and then boom, you're like, oh, yeah, this wouldn't exist without that. My books probably wouldn't exist without Dragon Ball, because Kingdom Hearts was a huge inspiration for, especially Sting's Adventures. Um, so my books wouldn't exist without Dragon Ball, even though I was not a Dragon Ball fan. So yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting looking back over like all the different things, and I think another thing to remember about all of these different shows and stuff is that no matter what you look at, someone always inspired somebody else, and by tracing the lines, you can find out who inspired who, and it's honestly incredible the history of why things come to exist. Like if you were to interview pretty much any, like half of the manga world, probably more, maybe like 90% of the manga world, all of the mangakas, you would probably have they if they weren't inspired by Dragon Ball, they were probably at least inspired by somebody who was inspired by Dragon Ball, and like I said, One Piece, even One Piece, which is almost as long as Dragon Ball, would be was inspired by Dragon Ball, and I think like even Bleach and Naruto were also inspired by Dragon Ball, and
So Naruto's another one of those that is long.
huh?
Naruto is very long, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. On well, I mean,
It's fun though. Naruto is the only manga I'd ever read before, because Tesla was into it, and I read it with them.
yeah. And honestly, like with Dragon Ball, pretty much every single thing is just like, oh shit, this is inspired by this. This is inspired. Well, yeah, like I said, that that is incredible. I'd kind of like to I kind of wonder who his inspirations were, because there wasn't much before him. At least in the manga world. Like obviously there was Astro Boy and stuff like that.
So according to Akira Toriyama himself, he was actually mostly inspired by, yeah, a little bit of Astro Boy, but also like old mythology. Like that's what he spent time reading as a kid, is mythology.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, mythology is like a big thing. Like,
But what I'm saying is, like,
Yeah.
he started drawing comics not because he was inspired by someone else who drew comics. He was inspired because he wanted to tell the old tales in new ways.
yeah. And that is actually something that is really interesting. And honestly, I kind of wish that the many of our mythologies are kind of like, people have this idea of they're set in stone and blah 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 blah. But it's honestly really fun to see like people's new takes on them.
I would
Obviously,
agree.
like we've talked about extensively about Rick Riordan and the Percy Jackson universe. Um, but like there are many people who were inspired by Journey to the West, and like pretty much anything that is
cats.
most Asian stuff would be inspired is heavily inspired by that because that's one of the biggest mythologies that they have. But yeah. Obviously they have others, but like that's one of the ones that like when you think Asian mythology, one of the biggest ones that comes up is Journey to the West. And
Yeah.
because it's such an expansive, such a big story, and it deals with a lot of the from what I've looked into it, I haven't done too much interest. I haven't like heavily delved into it, but part of what that was talking about several different other mythologies. Monkey would or Sung Wukong traveled across the entire world, dealing with all of the different mythologies of the world at the time, or at least the Asian world at the time. And like there's the Buddha, there's freaking the Jade Emperor. There's all sorts of different things, and I don't have time. We don't have time to go into every single one because that Journey to the West is long. Like OSP is currently going. They've been going through this that series retelling of the series, and even those like that entire playlist is several videos long, all of which are longer than what we have time for. Like I think all of their videos are longer than what we than us currently than like our usual time that we do for these. So, yeah. Needless to say, long. Oh, yeah. But yeah. So, Jack, what would you say is currently your favorite part of Dragon Ball?
Well, I think we all know that I'm very partial and quite biased towards the original 16 Dragon Ball books.
Yeah.
One of the things I like is that there's things in here that Toriyama did that I had literally never considered as an option. So we've got, little guy fights big fish. Little guy sees car for the first time. Well, how did she get the car? Well, she has these weird capsules, right? So she picks up one of these little capsules that she has in her pocket, throws it on the ground, and boom, car. What the fuck? How did that happen? But no joke. Here we go. She says she's got a box. It looks like a little first aid kit, and it's got all these little capsules in it. And she says, he made me forget which. Oh yeah, number 9. Pulls out number 9. It's a little capsule. Looks like a teeny little bomb. She throws it, and boom, there's a motorcycle. And he's like, Goku was just like, what the fuck? And I was sitting there the first time I read it going, what the fuck? How does that make sense? Like, how, like... But he just thought, like, you know what? It'd be really convenient if they had some way for just, boom, vehicle.
Yeah.
He was right. But I just would, like, that would never occur to me. Because it's so out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
But he was like, who fucking cares? We're just gonna do it. Yeah,
we're gonna have fun and we're gonna enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, he literally didn't care what was realistic or what wasn't, but he just, like, he did stuff. And there's a scene where, she wants to have a tent, and so she looks for one of her capsules, but one of the problems is that the capsules work off of, like, electricity or something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but they have to have something else to work. Well, one of the problems they face is that they go to a place where the capsules don't work. And so there she is, and she's like, oh no, what do I do? And so she has to figure out how to exist the way that Goku always has, and it's interesting.
Fun. Yeah. Like I said, I'll need to sit down and either watch or read that series. You can also
watch on YouTube. There's Dragon Ball Abridged. It's more of a comedy series, but it does sum up Dragon Ball really, really well in much shorter times because it is so long.
Yeah, abridged series are kind of a hit or miss situation, anyways, because
Dragon
like
Ball is really, really, really good.
okay, yeah, because at the same time, they're not telling the same story.
Yeah, so they're not gonna. But the thing is, like with Dragon Ball, they do tell the same story because the story is go find Dragon Ball, make wish. Go find Dragon Ball, make wish.
Yeah.
So they do tell the same story. Actually.
Okay. Yeah, because like if you look at like the Sao story, like it's so vastly different. The characters are completely different, and so, which is one of the reasons why most people actually will watch Sao abridged because over the original series because he's a piece of shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like honestly, like if you look at like there's always that one point where people are watching Sao and then they're like, oh yeah, this guy's a piece of shit. No wonder people don't like him.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. Like so just for an example, the part that was so bad that I was just like, okay, I'm never watching this bullshit ever again was there was a rape scene in one of the recent series, and it's so brutal, so disgusting, and apparently even the author felt like it was so bad that he apologized to the the voice actresses of the characters that were being
For
raped.
which?
For the rape scene. This
For
was
in which series?
Sao, Sword Art Online.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And granted, he wrote this years ago, but at the same time, it's there's some times when you're just like, yeah, you shouldn't have. You should probably just not adapt that. Like, you should just act like that part. Like, it's maybe like apologize for it even existing, and then just completely cut it from
Yeah.
like especially for the anime, it was just like, yeah, that should not have existed. And like I said, he apologized for it, and good on him for that. But at the same time, it was like that's a point where that is a point of no return. That is a you should not have even done that. You should not have written that. You should not have shown that later. Like granted, it's to make these characters seem evil, but at the same time, it is brutal. It is disgusting, and he's over sexualized characters in the past, and it's just even it's a bad scene. Like people will say that freaking Goblin Slayer is bad. They comparatively, this is worse. So yeah. So that there's that. So yeah, it's bad. And that's as far as that's as much as I'm saying about it. But there's other parts that people have been like, oh, that's bad. Like Kirito he feels like a womanizer. He really does, because like in the first series, he falls in love. He has this character that he is deeply in love with, and yet he keeps being in getting into these situations where clearly these other characters really want him, and like he may say that he doesn't want it, but he keeps getting into these situations, and it's just like clearly the author wants a harem anime, but he also wants to make sure he wants his cake and wants to eat it too. That's basically what it is. So
well, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, there's problems with it, and other people have made their long documented hate of the series, and I don't want to get into that. So like I've mentioned it, that's as far as we're going. But So this is it. Yeah, no dying.
Sorry.
But back to Dragon Ball. No. Honestly, I don't really know what much more to talk about. Actually, did you guys ever play Chrono Trigger
No.
or Dragon Quest?
No.
Okay. Um. Well, I'll just say this right off the bat. You can clearly see that the style is virtually the same as Dragon Ball, and
Yeah.
it's insanity how well he did it. I want to play Chrono Trigger again, but it's like it's not exactly an easy game to find. Like
Yeah, fair.
it might be in the classics collection on PlayStation, but I'm not 100% certain. So, yeah. But anyways, that's about as much as I really have to say about Toriyama at this point in time. Um, can you think of it? Like, obviously, he's inspired a lot of things, done great work. Can you think of anything else that we should discuss about that, or?
Not really.
Okay.
But I encourage everyone to read Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Just the original one. It's only 16, and the omnibuses that have 3 volumes in one are only $12 on Amazon. So I mean, just do it, man.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Really quick, quick and easy. Get the read through the entire Dragon Ball series, and you're good.
Just the first 16. Don't make it big.
Yeah. I said original Dragon Ball, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Dragon Ball Z. Like, no matter what I say, I'm not gonna suggest Dragon Ball Z, because that's insane.
It's also only like 21 thingies, so.
Well, yeah. Same goes for Super, but
yeah.
Honestly, like all of the stuff that happens with Dragon Ball as it continued on is just like it's a lot for people. So we're only gonna. So for now, we'll just suggest the main Dragon Ball, and then if you have the time, Dragon Ball Z, but or if you have time, then read through the series. But Dragon Ball is the first thing. Read through that, and you'll and we can't necessarily guarantee that you'll enjoy it, but at the same time, it's a good idea to at least understand where many of the starting point. If you are a manga fan, this is the starting point. This is where manga started. This what feels like the start of manga, and yeah. But anyways, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this nerd chat. I've been Electro Ninja. He's been Jack. Joker's been here, but he's muted right now. And we will. Oh, there he is. And we will see you guys next time. But on